Welcome, everybody, to the Superhumanistic podcast, where we talk about all things health, wellness, and longevity. Thank you for joining us today. We are your host. I'm David.
I'm Jessica.
Make sure that you hit that follow and subscribe button on this podcast so you never miss another episode. We put out one episode a week on Saturdays. Also, check us out on YouTube and Instagram for additional content. Also, it would greatly help us if you could leave us a rating and review so that others can find this podcast and get some health and wellness tips to live better lives as well. And also, don't forget to share this podcast with someone that you love if you're finding value in this so that they can continue on their health and wellness journey and live longer, healthier lives. Last week, we talked about VO2 max. So if you want to learn more about what VO2 max is, make sure that you're living a healthier, longer life, go back and listen to last week's episode. This week, we are going to continue talking about longevity, and we're going to jump into some information about that. So if you could follow one workout plan for the rest of your life, what would it look like?
Yeah, and we're not talking just for aesthetics here, but to help us live longer, stay stronger, maintain our energy, and avoid disease.
Most people are really training for the short term, but we're going to be talking about how to train for the next 30 to 50 years.
So this is a longevity workout blueprint based on what top experts say actually works. So jumping in here, what is the best in the world, or what do the best in the world agree on?
Yeah, there's a lot of leaders in this field, such as Andrew Huberman, and they really emphasize something most people miss, and that's that there's really no single perfect workout for you.
Right. Longevity fitness is about combining multiple systems. So you want to combine strength, endurance, stability, and mobility.
Because your body isn't one system, it's many. So if you neglect one, it becomes the weakest link.
Yeah. So the 4 pillars of longevity fitness, we're going to simplify this for you, but everything can fit into these 4 pillars. The first is strength, which is our foundation.
Muscles are really one of the strongest predictors of longevity. It protects against injury, metabolic disease, and frailty as you age.
Yeah, so think of strength as your insurance policy for the future.
Number 2, aerobic base, zone 2. We talked about this in a couple of episodes ago, so if you want to have a complete episode about zone 2, go back and listen to that. But really, this is your engine, as we talked about. It improves the mitochondrial health, supports fat metabolism, and then also builds that endurance.
Yeah, and then number 3 is our VO2 max, or that high intensity capacity. And we talked about this in length last week, so go back to last week's episode if you want to know more about VO2 max. But this is that ceiling in your workout, your ability to perform under stress.
Yeah, and this is really one of the biggest predictors when it comes to longevity.
Yeah, and then number 4 is that mobility and stability. So this is what's going to keep you being pain-free, being able to be functional in our workouts, and then moving well day to day.
We like to go to yoga class for that exact reason. So if you want to learn more about that, look into yoga, check it out at one of your local gyms, and that'll really keep you mobile, flexible, and also help with balance. So without this, strength and cardio don't really matter long term, so that's why it's so important. Next, we'll jump into what the ideal weekly structure should look like for you. So this is what everyone wants. What does an actual week look like? Let's go ahead and build that for you right now.
So a sample longevity week would be day 1. You're going to start with a full body strength workout. So you'll focus on squats or leg press. You'll push, so do like bench or push-ups, and then some sort of pull, so that could be rows, or you could do some pull-ups, and then work on your core.
All right, next we'll jump into day number 2, and that's when you're going to focus on that zone 2 cardio. We're going to be looking for 45 to 60 minutes on this day, and you can either do a brisk walk, you can do cycling, or you can do incline treadmill for that one.
And then day 3 is when we'll focus on that strength and mobility. So to repeat some of that strength work, plus adding in stretching, some more core stability, and then joint work.
All right, day number 4 is going to be your recovery day, and you're looking to do some light movement on that day. So that could be walking, mobility, and just really keep it light.
And then day 5, since we've just rested on day 4, is when we want to focus on that VO2 max intervals. So we want short and intense here. 4 to 6 rounds, 2 to 4 minutes of hard work, and then full recovery between each of those rounds.
All right. Next, we'll jump into day number 6, and that's going to be that zone 2 cardio again. So again, aiming for another 45 to 60 minutes to build that base.
And then day 7, going into active recovery. So we still want to be moving in some sort of way. It could be mobility. You could do some sort of stretching or just go for like a light walk.
All right, here's how to adapt this to real life. Let's be real. Not everyone has time for 6 to 7 days in the gym.
So a simplified version of this would be a minimum effective plan. So you want to aim then for at least 2 sort of days of strength, and then 2 days of that zone 2, and 1 day of having some interval work.
That's it. If you do that consistently, you're going to be ahead of about 90% of people out there.
So some of the biggest mistakes that we see people doing is only cardio at the gym, right? So this is like if you go to the gym consistently, I've seen this a lot of times. People go, our cardio is upstairs in our gym. So a lot of times, like, there's people that will come and they're like, yeah, I've been here for like 5 to 6 hours. And we're like, really? I can't tell because they're only doing cardio. They're always upstairs. They're never like doing anything but cardio. So big mistake, just doing the cardio. You avoid the strength training. You're going too hard and too often. So maybe you're just starting. You're getting into the momentum of working out. And you're like, yeah, I'm all about it. Like, you know, those gym bros that we see at the gym all the time yelling and screaming as they're lifting like so much weight. But then they get injured and then they lose all their progress because they can't go back to the gym. So ignoring recovery is also a huge mistake. And then skipping out on that mobility.
Yeah, longevity just isn't about that intensity alone. It's going to be about a balance in that. So now let's jump into the final takeaway. You want to train for the life you want to live at 70, 80, 90, or even 100, hopefully.
Yeah. Not just how you want to look this next month.
Because the real goal is staying strong, capable, and independent throughout your life.
And for life.
So if this episode helped you rethink your workouts, share it with someone who's stuck in the all cardio or all weights mindset.
Because the answer isn't one thing, it's the right combination.
All right, we'll see you next time on Superhumanistic.
Bye.